Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning into today's webcast with Ipsos. My name is Zina Pagan, ARF's marketing manager, and I will be your moderator for today. Before we begin exploring what to do in a MadTech world, I will go over a few housekeeping items. For the best webcast experience, please keep yourself muted and your computer web camera turned off. The audio will be streamed. This means that you will be able to hear us throughout your computer speakers. However, if you prefer to use the teleconference option, I will post the information in the chat box. Should you have any questions during the session, please send these to me using the chat box as well. The session will be recorded. If you would like to view the recorded event, it will be available on demand within 2 weeks from today. We are extending the conversation on social media. If you'd like to join us, please use hashtag ARFwebcast. If you're interested in hosting a webcast, please contact me at zina@thearf.org. The ARF has a few events coming up. The ARF's Leadership Lab is back for our summer session. Our second class is Thursday and will run through September 8th. The topic for this course will be centered around cross-platform measurement. Please check our website for further details on how to register. And if you're in the San Francisco area, join us on July 27th as Quantcast hosts the ARF to battle ad fraud and ad blocking. We will be joined by White Ops, the Marketing Science Consulting Group, Distillery, and Morgan Digital Ventures. If you're interested in either one of these events or other ARF programs, please let me know and I'd be happy to help you. And without further delay, I present to you Peter Minnium, President of US Connect.
Thanks very much, Zina. Over the past year, Ipsos Connect has been studying the changes in the media, advertising, and technology spaces and helping our clients to navigate this new landscape. At the same time, we as an organization have been changing to meet the needs of this new MadTech world. In so doing, we've been keen observers to how successful consumer insights professionals and organizations are changing. The purpose of this webinar is to share our observations in the hope that it will help each of us excel at the intersection of advertising, media, and technology. This is the obligatory About Us slide. I don't get my paycheck at the end of the week if I don't include it. And I hope that most of you know Ipsos, the leading global market research company with offices in over 80 countries and 16,000 employees. Ipsos Connect, 2,400 professionals, work in 60 markets and about 300 of us in the US. As background, I came to Ipsos Connect about a year ago from the IAB, where I was head of brand initiatives, helping brand marketers do online what they've done offline for years. At Ipsos Connect, we believe that we now live in a MadTech world, one in which media, advertising, and technology intersect to fundamentally alter how consumers consume content, and therefore how marketers need to advertise, and media and platform companies need to act. For many companies, this demands revolutionary change. Changing fast to meet the demands of the new consumer is an existential need. More widespread is the evolutionary effect, as all companies must adapt to meet the higher expectations of the modern, empowered consumer with greater speed, flexibility, and efficiency. As a research company, we decided to test the MadTech hypothesis with our clients and our clients' clients, brand marketers, and their agencies. I'm going to share a few slides from this study, but I'll be happy to share the full deck if you email me, or alternatively, if you go to ipsosmadtech.com, it'll be posted there. We found support in this research for the MadTech hypothesis. 85% of marketer and agency respondents agree that technology will play a key role in their next campaign. Notably, 94% of the same group agreed with the idea that we have entered a brave new world where media, advertising, and technology are coming together. Those who have responsibility for creating advertising, content, and other marketing programs, as well as the final decision makers, are more likely to strongly agree with the concept. The implications for advertising, media, and technology platforms are widespread. MadTech means a transition from sequential to simultaneous communications. In the old days, like 2015, the path of communications from the brand to the consumer was a linear and direct one, reflecting the analog nature of media. It often proceeded from the brand and its big idea to television, radio, print, outdoor, and point of sale to affect the consumer. This has changed with digital media. It allows for the simultaneous communication of story elements that come together to form a single concept. In literature, this is called disruptive narrative, and its dominance in digital media has important implications for how brands communicate with consumers. MadTech means that brands no longer control the entirety of the communication supply chain. That sequence of processes involved in the creation, production, and distribution of communications to the consumer. Digital is enabling a level of interaction and dialogue between marketers, consumers, and the media, whereby the three are becoming partners in the advertising experience, often as co-creators. While there's no one-size-fits-all scenario, in many cases, the brand and its agency control the first part of the communication supply chain, the media the second, and the consumer the third. MadTech means that brands in the future must engage in systemic story building, layering communications to form a single narrative versus today's linear storytelling. In systemic story building, the base layers of communication are created by the brand, certainly the big idea and the core video executions. But these will be increasingly complemented by content co-created with media partners and that which the consumer creates in response. Of course, every brand will be doing this, so we will move from a world in which one's linear stories need to stand out versus other linear executions to one where each brand's story system will need to stand out versus other story systems. MadTech means screens and multi-screen usage proliferate. Today's argument is about which screen is dominant, but does it really matter? It's far more important to identify the use cases for different content and ad experiences and to understand how multi and simultaneous screen usage influence these. Publishers and platform owners will reshape and reinvent the content once the consumer's voice is heard. The implications for advertising and media are widespread, and for the most part, agency influencers and marketers are positive about the increasingly influential role of technology in their business. In our study, 2/3 said they thought it made it easier to reach their audience. More than half said it helps marketers to be present throughout all phases of the customer's purchase journey. Content creators and final decision makers were significantly more likely to say technology has created higher expectations for customers and end users, as well as that it puts consumers in the driver's seat. Agency respondents and those involved in advertising were more likely to say that technology makes advertising more effective. It's also quite clear from our study that while MadTech drives tremendous change on the one hand, on the other, some things remain constant. Most importantly, it's still all about people and how they make choices. For Ipsos Connect, we are focused on how people make choices for products, content, and platforms. And we know that at the heart of growth is how understanding people make choices. There's ample evidence to show that even when conditions are in constant flux, as they are in today's MadTech world, the way humans gather and process information and make choices is fairly constant. We know that choice is often unconscious and that stronger mental networks drive choice. But of course, you still need to get people's attention in the first place. In our research, we found evidence that many feel they have strayed from this core truth and been too smitten with shiny new digital objects. 6 in 10 agency respondents expressed concern that they've drunk the digital Kool-Aid and that they overly rely on digital. Similarly, agency respondents were significantly more likely to express concern about pushing the envelope too far. Among marketers, there's a strong correlation between those who indicate that we're too risk averse and concerned that we're pushing the envelope too far, suggesting confusion regarding the right level for the digital initiatives. And so, what does MadTech mean for market research and insights operations? I suppose everyone that's on this call, if we're thinking hard about our next career move or how to prosper in the MadTech world. And so I'm going to draw on what we have seen from hundreds of companies, including these that happen to be some of our clients, but also my experience in the belly of the beast at the IAB, where I lived at the center of the new economy for 5 years, up until about 14 months ago. And yes, I'm one of those people for whom a picture of me with my eyes open does not exist. So if any of you have them, please send them my way. Here then is our top 10 list of MadTech implications for researchers and consumer insights professionals. The first implication and piece of advice is to be fearless. Let go of the fear and jump into MadTech with both feet. After a certain age, people are no longer able to learn by studying alone and have to learn by experience. And I believe this to be true for everyone on this call. There's another good reason to not approach today's challenges via reading and conferences and studying. No one has the answers as this world is changing so rapidly. Those of you who know me know that I did this 6 years ago when I left the advertising business and joined the IAB as an intern. That's a whole nother conversation, which I'm not going to go into. The second implication is much more practical and sensible than the path I took, and I believe can have the same effect, and that is be 10% fearless. Said another way, follow the 70-20-10 rule. Spend 70% of your resources on things that you know work, 20% on things you think work, and 10% on new things that you hope work. And of course, the goal is to move the 10 to the 20 and the 20 to the 70. Number 3 is to be market research proud. I learned this the hard way in the digital world. For many years, people in that world collectively consumed the Kool-Aid when it came to the capacity of big data, technology, and math provide answers to the industry's toughest questions. The responses to each seem to have been the same chorus. The data will tell us. Let the machines decide, or the algorithm will optimize for the answer. Yet more than 20 years into the digital advertising revolution, many difficult questions stubbornly remain. Attribution and cross-platform brand metrics come to mind. Now, there's finally a realization that what matters is the understanding and insight that can be gleaned for these engines of digital marketing. That's a research question, is increasingly being added to the chorus as time-tested methods of strategic and systematic investigation are deployed, together with data, tech, and math, more rigorously separate the signal from the noise for brands and publishers. I realized this after several years at the IAB, and that's why I left to join market research. The next time I present the slide, I will use a more prideful visual, perhaps like this. Number 4, be a partisan. It all starts and ends with people. And consumer insights is where knowledge about people resides. You understand people. You know what motivates them. You know what they care about. You know what they like. And we should own it. It's not about data or math or technology, yet purveyors of those skill sets are incredibly prejudiced, absolutist really. So should you be. Be a zealot. Focus obsessively on keeping up with the customer. Be their voice and speak loudly and persistently in your company. Be skeptical, dismissive even, of data sources that don't truly reflect what you know about the consumer. I've heard it said that data scientists will be the new insights experts. That's rubbish. The new insights experts will be the ones who understand people best, and that should be you. Number 5, be a collector of multiple data streams. From a MadTech perspective, digitally delivered media and two-way communications provide additional data sets like behavioral and social that can enhance insight and understanding. We need to become expert at using multiple sources of data, including survey research, to tell a whole story. It doesn't have to be data fusion, it can be journalistic, but the days of just saying, survey says, are nearly over. And if we don't incorporate multiple data sources, our stakeholders will. And then we'll just be an input into someone else's final story. One of our major clients, a Fortune 100 company, actually mandates the use of 3 sources or methodologies to tell any story. Number 6, and related, is be a connector. An important challenge of multiple data streams is that 1 plus 1 plus 1 can equal less than 3 due to confusion and lack of integration. In fact, our experience shows that this is the case more often than not. It takes a concerted effort throughout the process, especially upfront, to meaningfully integrate disparate data sources. And this is when the true power of research is realized. Consumer insights, with its consumer lens, is the natural place for this to happen. You are the natural connectors. As the saying goes, chance favors the connected mind, and be that mind. 7, be a surveyor. All right, I know this may seem self-serving as Ipsos Connect does a lot of surveys, but surveys are still the best way to understand people's motivations, and this will be true for a long time to come, in my humble opinion. Of course, this is not true for people's behavior, where passively collected data is better if available, and believe me, that's a big if. But there's no better way to listen to the voice of the consumer than, well, to listen to the voice of the consumer. But don't take my word for it. Here's what Sridhar Ramaswamy, SVP of Ads and Commerce at Google, had to say about the subject on stage 6 months ago. Surveys are my favorite tool. Ask 1,000 people. Let's see what they think. Brand surveys, I think, are going to revolutionize how we think about the effectiveness of advertising. And we've run over 6,000 studies for our customers. There you have it, the world's most technologically advanced company, one that has behavioral and social data on what all of us do at every single moment of every day, are surveyors. Number 8, be a storyteller. I studied economics as an undergrad and heard repeatedly at the start of countless class debates, assume rational expectations and perfect information, which will ring true to anyone who studied econ. Admittedly, that was terrible training for a career in advertising. But in moving into digital 5 years ago, I thought I would finally find a world of reason and clarity, and therefore only rational decisions. After all, the digital world was supposed to be populated with engineers, technologists, and mathematicians, the ultimate rationalist, if you will. I thought then that I could finally put aside my storytelling and influence skills and rely on reason alone. Boy, was I wrong. The scale of imperfect information and irrational expectations in digital advertising remains staggering. I soon learned that the same storytelling skills I use in the advertising world were necessary to communicate and persuade in the digital one. And this remains true, perhaps even more true, in market research. Number 9 is be mobile. So this is my most practical piece of advice today. Be a mobile expert. If there are any sure bets in the world, it's that mobile devices will be the gateway to understanding people for years to come. They bring location, intent, behavior, participation, and many things that we've yet to dream of. I'm a very, very skeptical person about chasing technology, but we've only begun to tap the potential of mobile devices, and so you can still be first. And the last implication of MadTech for consumer insights professionals, but not least, is this: be a failure. We as an industry have to move from avoiding risk to embracing it. Making mistakes, learning from them, and iterating is a key tenet of the MadTech economy. The digital ecosystem is an extraordinary laboratory for experimentation, and not to use it as such would be the greatest failure of all. And so there you have it, our top 10 list of MadTech applications for research and insights professionals. Be fearless, perhaps not as foolishly fearless as I was, but be 10% fearless. Follow the 70-20-10 rule. Be market research proud. Be a partisan. Be a collector. Be a connector. Be a surveyor. Be a storyteller. Be mobile. And most important of all, be a failure. And so I breezed through that, and I'm very happy to take questions either about the MadTech landscape, our research with marketers and agencies, or our top 10 implications for those of us who are on the call, for market research and consumer insights professionals. If not, I'm happy to give you back 30 minutes in your day. And so if you have questions, I think, Zena, people will type them into the chat window.
Yes, Peter. So I have 2 in already, so I can begin now if you like.
Sure.
First question: as a collector or multiple data sources, how do we manage not having comparability between sources, particularly if they do not align?
That's a fantastic question. And in fact, it's the $1 million question. Actually, as the leader of Ipsos Connect, I can tell you it's probably a $10 million question if we could align disparate data sources. And so that's why I noted in here the need to, at the start, be journalistic. We talk about having additional perspectives which provide a 360-degree view. And at the start, our perspective is to embrace the good and don't wait for the perfect. And so experiment with multiple sources, but use them to tell a holistic story rather than to try and force fusion with data that can't be fused today. But the person who asked the question, if you have the answer, ping me at Peter Minnium on Twitter, and I'll be happy to hire you.
Second question, is there a difference between surveys that listen via mobile and situations versus other methodologies outside or after being in moment participation?
So give me that one more time, Zena.
Yep. Is there a difference between surveys that listen via mobile and situation versus other methodologies outside or after being in moment participation?
I'm not sure exactly what the questioner is getting at. I think that the entire industry, however, is probably at the same place with experimentation of how to use this, in the early stages of experimentation of how to use this incredibly powerful computer companion that is the phone to combine, asking folks to combine it as survey-based data collection, but also passive data collection. And so I think we're all in the learning stages. I know we certainly are.
Okay, so they wrote in the moment of participation versus surveying after the fact. Does that help?
Yeah. And the answer is yes, of course. There's important differences, and it comes back to what question you're trying to answer. We do both, and suggest different approaches based on the question that we're helping our clients to address. If that's a client, definitely email me, and we'll tell you which approach is right for you.
Okay, I can probably connect you. So that's it for questions today. Peter and Evan, I actually thank you so much for spending your time with us and presenting your research with us. Everyone else, thank you for dedicating an hour or half an hour with the ARF today. I hope to have you all for our next webcast next week. Thank you, everybody. Peter, do you have anything that you want, any last notes that you want to cover before we close off?
Ping me at, you see there's my Twitter handle, or Peter Minnium at Ipsos.com with any further questions, or if you'd like to continue this dialogue. Clearly, the implications of MadTech will continue to wreak havoc in our industry, but for a while to come, and I'd love to continue this dialogue, and we'll continue to share the implications that we see for the market. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.